All right, get ready because we are diving deep into a stack of legal documents.
Oh, yeah.
From a 2008 Commission of Inquiry in Jamaica.
Wow. Okay.
It's a story about a debtor we only know as Debtor 1.
Okay.
And their experience with this company, Jamaica Redevelopment Foundation.
JRF?
Yeah, JRF. Think of this deep dive as like a finance thriller.
Okay.
Where a simple loan turns into a financial nightmare. Seriously.
And what makes it even more interesting, these documents, they weren't submitted by Debtor 1, but by their lawyer, Raphael Codlin.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like he was trying to expose something fishy.
Trying to expose something like he knew what was going on behind the scenes.
Exactly. It's like he had seen this before and was trying to, like, warn everybody.
So it's like we're getting the inside scoop.
Yeah.
So let's rewind back to the beginning of this whole thing.
Okay.
Debtor 1 takes out a loan, $4 million.
Wow.
From Eagle Commercial Bank back in 1992.
$4 million. That's
a lot of money.
That's a serious chunk of change. Like, what were they planning?
Right. What was Debtor 1 even doing with all that money?
Yeah.
We don't know.
Unfortunately, the documents don't say.
Oh, okay.
It's a mystery. But what we do know is this loan got caught up in the whole Jamaican banking crisis.
Oh, no, not the banking crisis.
Yeah, late 20th century, Eagle Commercial Bank, they went bankrupt, kaput.
So the bank goes under.
Yeah.
What happens to Debtor 1's loan?
All right, so this is where it gets juicy.
Okay.
The Jamaican government, they had to clean up this mess, right?
Right.
So they create this entity called FINSAC.
FINSAC.
Yeah, the Financial Sector Adjustment Company. They're the ones who handle all the bad debt from these failed banks.
So Debtor 1's loan, it's caught up in this whole FINSAC thing.
Exactly. They're right in the thick of it.
Okay, but at this point, Debtor 1 is like any other borrower, right?
You'd think so, but that's where things take a turn.
Okay.
Like, FINSAC needs to recoup their losses.
Of course.
So they start selling off assets, including whatever's tied to Debtor 1's loan.
Or no.
And they sell these assets to different entities, one of them being this company called JRF, the Jamaica Redevelopment Foundation.
JRF, that's our big player, right?
That's them. That's where things go downhill for Debtor 1.
Okay.
Like, picture this, JRF, this company from Texas.
Okay.
They buy Debtor 1's loan, but get this, they get a special exemption from the Jamaican Money Lending Act.
An exemption. Hold on, who gave them that?
None other than the finance minister himself, Dr. Omar Davis.
What? The finance minister gave them a pass.
A free pass, basically.
So what does that even mean, exemption? Did it give JRF special privileges?
You bet it did. It's like buying a debt for pennies on the dollar and then turning around and demanding the full amount.
Oh, no.
Seriously, they were playing by a whole different set of rules.
And they were allowed to demand how much from Debtor 1?
Over $1 billion.
$1 billion.
You heard that right. $1 billion with a B.
But we were just talking about a $4 million loan.
That's JRF for you. I mean, where did that even come from, that number?
$1 billion? That's unimaginable.
It's mind-blowing, right?
Was this common for them? Or was it just Debtor 1?
It makes you wonder if they were making it up as they went along.
So what did Debtor 1 have to say about all this?
Well, according to them, they had been making payments.
Okay.
Substantial payments on the original loan.
Okay.
But once JRF took over, poof, gone.
The payments disappeared.
Act like they never even happened.
Oh my gosh. So they are dealing with this huge demand for money on top of the fact that their previous payments vanished.
It's a bad dream.
This is insane.
It gets worse.
It gets worse. How?
Debtor 1 claims they were asked to sign a blank document in their lawyer's office.
A blank document? What?
You heard me right. A blank document. And guess what? It turned out to be a mortgage.
Are you kidding me?
Nope, a mortgage. Can you imagine the audacity?
Who signs a blank document?
That's what I'm saying.
That is wild.
It's like something out of a horror movie.
That is unbelievable. A blank document? Seriously.
Seriously, who does that? Signs a blank document?
I know, right? It's mind-blowing. So let's dig into this mortgage. This blank document turned mortgage. What was so strange about it?
Well, Codlin, Debtor 1's lawyer.
Right, yeah.
He called it, get this, a documentary hermaphrodite. I know, right?
A documentary hermaphrodite? What does that even mean?
Basically, he was saying it was like two documents Frankenstein together.
Okay, so like two different documents from different times.
Exactly. Like someone took a time machine, grabbed a document from 1992 when the loan was made, and then, I don't know, zapped in some new terms from like 2001.
So they were trying to make it look like this agreement happened after the bank went under.
Bingo!
But why would they even do that?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Right.
See, the mortgage, it claimed debtor one defaulted on the original loan.
Right.
And that the bank was going to seize their assets. But here's the thing, the bank was already gone. They were out of business.
They couldn't seize anything.
Exactly. They're trying to enforce rules from a bank that doesn't even exist anymore.
So JRF was trying to create this legal excuse.
Oh, absolutely.
Even though the original loan, that whole situation, was like ancient history.
Gone, forgotten, kaput. But JRF, they still want their $1 billion.
It's like they were trying to rewrite history to get what they wanted.
It's unbelievable, right? And get this, Coughlin says debtor one wasn't even allowed to, like, read the document.
What? They just had to sign it.
Blind trust, apparently.
That's insane. I mean, that just sounds completely unfair.
Right. It's like something out of a Kafka novel.
Totally. Trapped in this financial nightmare. So what happened next? Did anyone do anything about this?
Well, remember Dr. Davis?
Yeah, the finance minister who gave JRF that exemption.
The very same. He actually defended the whole thing.
He did.
Yep, he stood before the Commission of Inquiry and said the exemption was totally necessary.
Why, what was his reasoning?
He claimed it was all about attracting that sweet, sweet foreign investment, you know, to stabilize the Jamaican economy after the whole banking crisis.
So he's saying the ends justify the means.
Pretty much. He was basically like, look, we had to do something drastic.
But what about debtor one? It doesn't seem fair that they're caught in the crosshairs of this economic stabilization.
That's exactly what Coughlin argued. He was like, hold on a minute. There's a big difference between helping out a struggling bank and giving a company like JRF free rein.
Right, like banks have regulations, they have to answer to someone.
Yeah, but JRF, they were basically operating in the Wild West of finance.
And they were allowed to do that because of this exemption, which, let's be real, seems like it was basically designed to protect them from any consequences.
Exactly. Coughlin was adamant that what JRF was doing was predatory lending, plain and simple.
What did he say about those crazy interest rates?
Oh, he went there. He pointed out that they were charging these outrageous rates, like 50, even 65% compounded.
Are you serious? That's highway robbery.
Tell me about it. And Coughlin was like, this is only happening because of that exemption. They're basically untouchable.
So debtor one is stuck between this corporation with government backing and a mountain of debt that seems impossible to pay off. It's heartbreaking. Did Coughlin have any idea why the government would agree to such a deal in the first place?
Well, he speculated that maybe, just maybe, there was a misunderstanding.
A misunderstanding.
About what?
About how JRF operated. He thought the government assumed they'd just collect the debts, you know, business as usual.
Not slap on these ridiculous interest rates.
Right.
So a colossal miscommunication with disastrous consequences.
That pretty much sums it up.
Wow. What was Coughlin hoping to achieve by bringing all of this to light? Did he want to see JRF punished or debtor one's debt wiped clean?
Honestly, I think his main goal was just to expose everything.
To expose it.
Yeah, to show everyone that this exemption was unlawful, to highlight the damage it was doing. He wanted to challenge the whole system that allowed JRF to run wild. He was fighting for debtor one, but also for every other person who might get caught in this trap.
Absolutely. He was like a lone warrior taking on the entire system.
It takes guts to do something like that.
For sure. And you know what? This whole thing makes me wonder.
What's that? It makes you wonder how many others are out there, just like debtor one.
Right.
Just trapped in these like predatory lending situations.
It really makes you think about who benefits from all of this, you know?
It's easy to get lost in the numbers, the economics of it all.
Totally.
But there are real people behind those numbers.
Absolutely. Real people with real lives being affected.
So where do we even go from here? What can we do to prevent this from happening again?
That's the million-dollar question, right? Like, shouldn't there have been some sort of oversight?
Right. If FINSAC was supposed to stabilize things to help Jamaica recover,
You'd think so.
shouldn't they have been looking out for stuff like this?
Absolutely. Like, were there any safeguards in place at all?
And what about the government's role in all of this?
Exactly. They have a responsibility to protect their citizens, right?
Especially during a time when they're so vulnerable.
Especially then, yeah.
So we've got these foreign entities coming in, buying up assets at a discount.
Right.
What happens in the long run? What are the consequences of all of that?
Well, it's a mixed bag, to be honest. Some say it was necessary to get the economy going again,
Okay.
but others argue that it only helped the foreign investors, that it hurt Jamaica in the long run.
So it's like a double-edged sword.
Exactly. Investment is good, but not if it comes at the expense of people losing their homes and livelihoods.
This entire story with Debtor One has been a real eye-opener.
Definitely.
It shows how these big economic events can have a huge impact on individuals.
And it reminds us that we can't forget about those individuals.
Absolutely.
We need to remember that there are real people behind the headlines, real people like Debtor One.
And those stories deserve to be heard.
They do, because they can teach us valuable lessons about what not to do in the future.
Well said. This has been a lot to process, this whole case with Debtor One.
It really has.
But it's so important to talk about these things, to shine a light on them.
Absolutely.
We can't let this be swept under the rug.
Exactly. We need to learn from the past to create a better future.
For everyone.
Exactly, for
Yeah,
everyone.
I think that's a good place to leave it for today. This deep dive into Debtor One's story, it's a stark reminder that we need to keep asking questions.
Absolutely.
We need to hold those in power accountable.
Yes.
We need to demand a fairer system for everyone.
100%.
And to our listeners, we encourage you to do your own research, delve into this case further, learn more about the Jamaican financial crisis and its impact.
It's a fascinating, albeit complex, story.
It is, and it's one that deserves to be told and understood.
And hopefully it can help us prevent similar situations from happening again.
Exactly. That's it for this deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep learning.
And remember, every story matters.